But that's how she was, though. What's up, everybody? In case you haven't noticed, I'm here to do a movie review on the new Jordan Peele horror movie that just dropped this week, Us. So before I get into this movie review, I just want to say, first and foremost, that no matter how hard I'm going to dig deep into it, because you know I'll be ripping these movies a new one, that I did enjoy Us. It was a good movie. If you are a fan of Get Out, if you are a fan of any horror movies, I do recommend buying the ticket, sitting your ass in the theater, and seeing this movie. So let's get into it. The movie starts with a little girl who is Lupita Nyong'o's character as a little girl when she was a kid in Santa Cruz. She's on the beach, she leaves her family, and then she ends up going into like this little house of mirrors. It's really creepy and ominous. It's beautifully lit. You hear all like the different sounds. Mind you, I saw this in the Dolby, so the sound quality was crazy. Like all the little creaks and crap that made the movie so much better. If you ever get a chance to see a horror movie in a Dolby theater, I highly recommend it. Getting back to it. So Adelaide, she's looking into one of the mirrors and she sees another little girl that looks just like her. And then that's the beginning. So flash forward to present day. Now Adelaide's older and it's Lupita Nyong'o. She's taking a family vacation to their summer house in Santa Cruz with her husband, who's Winston Duke, and their two children, Zora and Jason. I hope I got the names right. But you could tell that Lupita Nyong'o is kind of like, she's very standoffish. Like, there's something bothering her the entire time. She ends up confessing to her husband later that she admits to him about what happened when she was a little kid in, like, the beginning of the movie. That, you know, she went to the fun house, she saw somebody that looked just like her, and it's kind of haunted her. And she always feels like something's about to happen. She feels like the little girl is gonna finally get her. Like it traumatized her. They flash back to when she was a little girl in therapy. Her parents, which were Anna Diop and then Yaha Abdul Mateen. Oh my god, I hope I said his name right. But it's pretty much Starfire and Black Manta in the DC universe, if you know what I'm talking about. They're her parents when she's a little girl. They're talking about, we just want our daughter back. We just want our daughter back. These are the flashbacks. Get back to the present. They go to the beach real quick and they meet up with I guess their family friends, which is Elizabeth Moss. If you don't know who Elizabeth Moss is, she's from what's it called, The Handmaid's Tale. And then her husband, which I forgot his name, but it's Tim from Tim and Eric, you know, the Tim and Eric Adult Swim shows. And then they have some twin daughters. That's hint right there. First of all, when they had the twin daughters, I was like, ooh, twins. And then you notice like coincidences start happening. Like there's a frisbee that gets flown by Lupita Nyong'o's head and it lands like right in the middle of like a circle on their blanket. At one point when they go back to the house, they check the clock and it's 11:11, so there's another coincidence. Yeah, I had to pick up my sisters when I'm thinking about this one. So you could just tell the whole time it's like building up that she feels like there's something coming. We know there's something coming. It's a horror movie. Of course something's about to happen. So getting back to it, that night, while they're all going to bed, Jason gets up and he's like, there's a family outside. They look outside. There's a family of 4 people just holding hands. Oh, wait, hold on, no. Damn, you know I'm bad at this. Okay, back to the beach real quick. Jason runs off for a second. And while he's running off to go to the bathroom, he notices this guy in a red outfit and a trench coat standing there on the beach with his hand bloody, arm stretched. We'll get back to that. So, okay, back to when they see the family that's outside. You don't really see their faces, but if you've seen the trailers, you know it's that. It's them. So Winston Duke comes out, and I loved his character. Like, he was very, like, I always say that horror and comedy always coincide with each other, and this was a perfect example because Winston Duke's character was always trying to, like, lighten the mood. Even though you know something's about to happen, he was always just trying to keep positive and make jokes about it. Maybe sometimes at the most inappropriate of times, but for the most part, he was the icebreaker of the group. He was just trying to, like, you know, calm the mood down. And he goes outside with the bat, and then the family starts approaching. They scatter, and they're running off. The little kids running, like, you know, they're all approaching the house, so they lock the doors. This family ends up breaking in, you know, capturing all... They're not really capturing them, but just, like, they break into the house, corner them all into the living room, and sit them all down, and then that's when they notice, oh my god, it's us. So the doppelganger of Lupita Nyong'o, whose character's name is Red, she's the only one that can actually talk. So she sits there and she comes in, does her little sit. She does like the whole like I'm not gonna lie though. I'm not gonna lie though, when she started talking, I was kinda like she had a stupid ass voice. I love Lupita Nyong'o though. She is a great actress, but that voice, girl, you thought it too. That could have like that could have like taken me away out of the mood for a second, but it didn't. Like I got past it. It's kind of like when you heard Bane for the first time in The Dark Knight Rises. You were like, I don't know whether to take this serious or to laugh, but so she tells the story about there once was a little girl, and you're like, girl, get it out already. Like, can somebody get this bitch a lozenge? God damn. Like, and I saw this shit in the Dolby, so her voice was extra raspy. So she's telling the story about, you were living above, we were down there. When you got married, I had to marry him. Looking at Winston Duke's doppelganger. And then when you had your beautiful little babies and had a C-section, I had to give birth to these monsters. Talking about her kids. So pretty much you're getting that whatever happened to Adelaide up in the world was happening to them down there. They explain more of that later. I like the one part, like with the sister, she was like, when you got nice toys for Christmas, I got razor blades and sharp things that would cut my fingers. I wish I had a glove on to get into the mood, but she always had like a glove. The glove, I guess, I don't know, they all had the glove on. They were all wearing like the same red matching jumpsuits with gloves on. They explain it later. So, she tells Winston Duke's doppelganger, what was his name, Abraham, to get Winston Duke. So he's fucking his ass up, and they go outside to like where the boat is and stuff. She tells Zora's doppelganger to get her. So Zora's hauling ass. She was actually a sprinter. You find out in earlier that she was, she used to do like track and field. So she's hauling ass. And then that girl's coming after her. Like, she's like twice as fast. She tells Jason to play with his doppelganger. So they go into a closet. And he takes off. Jason always has like this little like Chewbacca looking mask on. It looked like Chewbacca. I don't know. It kind of looked like Chewbacca mom. You know what I'm saying? It kind of looked like Chewbacca mom. And the other kid had this like burlap sack type of mask on. So when they both took their masks off, his face was like all burnt. He was like obsessed with fire. He was like a pyro kid. The doppelganger was. And so then Red tells Adelaide to tether herself to the little ottoman in the middle with some handcuffs. She does. And the tethered is what you find out is the name of the doppelgangers. They're called the tethered. So pretty much there's like, I'm not going to get into like all the craziness that happens. It's a big cat and mouse chase thing. The family events gets on the boat and rides away. Abraham gets killed by Winston Duke. I keep forgetting his character, but I'm just going to call him Winston Duke. They end up going to Elizabeth Moss and the other guy's house to go for help, because that's their friends, and they're like across the bay. But by the time they get there, their doppelgangers, Elizabeth Moss doppelgangers and family, they already killed their asses. So this is where my girl Zora put in work. That girl, she went in that house, she killed both the twins. Them bitches were doing flips and splits and all the different swirls and curls. They were like, whoa! Like, doing some, she had the little, what'd she have? She had like a golf club. She was slapping, she killed both them bitches. And Lupita Nyong'o's character was captured by Elizabeth Moss' doppelganger. The kids end up saving her. So they had to fight the other family of doppelgangers. I'm not going to get into it too much. I could explain in vivid detail. And let me just wrap this shit up. They end up getting into the car and they're driving. Before they get in the car, they look on the news. They find out that in the entire area, all the doppelgangers are killing their real versions of themselves. And they're all wearing red. They all have a pair of scissors. And they're just murking the shit out of people. So when they get in the car and they drive out back to the boardwalk, you see that like all the different bodies are like all murdered all around, like all over. They killed them bitches. You think at this point, like, damn, nobody else killed their doppelganger? It was just the Wilson family that killed their doppelgangers. Nobody else did. Damn, people are weak. I'm sorry. If a version of myself tried to kill my ass, I'm murdering your fucking ass. I don't care. I even asked my best friend. I saw it with my friend. I asked him. I said, "Would you kill my doppelganger?" He didn't even hesitate. He said, "Yeah." Fuck you, bitch. So they get to the boardwalk and they see Jason's tethered version. And Jason realizes that when he backs up, that his version was backing up. So he backed up to the point where the tethered version was backing up into this car that was set ablaze, killed his ass. Oh, Zora's doppelganger got killed earlier. So pretty much the only doppelganger that's left from the Wilson family is Red. She kidnaps Jason. So Lupita Nyong'o, she's like, fuck this, I'm going after my son. She kind of leaves the family. She doesn't even explain where the fuck she's going, but she has an idea where she's going. She goes back to the mirror house from when she was a little girl. And inside the mirror house, there's a little compartment door that leads to this, like, kind of like a behind the scenes, like, factory type of, you know, like, in, like, if you think, like, underground Disney, you know, that, like, the behind the scenes of Disney where it's all, like, computers and all this crap. Anyway, she ends up walking down all these flights of stairs and going down all these corridors. Like, damn, I don't even know how the hell she knew where she was going. She went down she ends up at an escalator going down. They had an escalator in here. So she's going down. She had like a little fire poker. This girl had the fire poker the entire movie. I don't know how the hell she did it with just a fire poker. I would have grabbed guns. I would have grabbed knives. She had a fire poker. I'm not here to judge. I'm just here to watch. So she ends up going down, and inside the bottom of this, it's like under Santa Cruz. It's under the boardwalk. There's this whole like compartment area of all these different corridors and bunk beds and stuff. She ends up finding Red, and Red explains to her that they were I guess a military experiment or something. She's like, what are you? We're Americans. We're you. You know, we were created, and a part of our minds and our souls are linked to you. So everything you're doing up there, they're doing down there. They show that when she was a little girl, like every time, like they would do something up there, like they were eating up there, they were downstairs eating raw rabbits. They had this whole scene in the beginning with all the different rabbits. If you didn't get that, the rabbits, I guess, because they were cloning rabbits at first and they started cloning humans. That's why all the rabbits were down there, and that's all the tethered were eating. They were eating them bitches raw. That was kind of nasty. You heard the bunnies screaming. They were like, "Arr!" And them bitches were just nomming out this damn. That shit is unsanitary. I'm sorry. My ass, I don't care. I ain't eating no raw rabbit. You thought. So get back to it. She explains that, I guess they were performing experiments and they were making clones. They were making clones, and then eventually the scientists or government, whoever was doing it, just left them down there. I guess they did this to the entire world. This is where I kind of was confused, because I think they really should have explained this a little bit more. Who is the people that are actually cloning the people? Maybe I missed it, but I didn't catch that. I mean, I'm guessing it's just the military or the government. I don't know. So, and she kind of explains that, like, when you were a little girl, like, that changed me. When she first saw her in the beginning scene, when she saw her in the funhouse. Because after that, there was a time when Adelaide was a little girl, did, like, a dance, I guess, to, like, help her with her anxiety and stuff. When she was doing a ballet dance, then Red was down in the basement doing a ballet dance, and then the tethered saw her, and I guess they looked at her like she was fucking Jesus, and they were like, oh my god, like, she's someone that's different than how everybody else is. And then she came up with this plan. They took years to make this plan that they were all gonna eventually go up to the surface and kill their real selves, the doppelgangers. They made this giant frickin' plan. It didn't really make, I don't know. So you see, like, even up with the people that after they killed their doppelgangers, they would join hands with each other and form this giant line. Like, they're about to sing, "We Are the Fucking World" or some shit, you know? Like, that's, so the guy in the beginning, when Jason saw that man who was standing on the beach with his hands bloody, it was because he already killed his doppelganger. I mean, he already killed his real self. So he was standing there waiting for other people to kill their real selves to join hands. That kind of explained why he was just standing there. all in all, it turns into this big frickin' fight. Adelaide and Red end up going at each other. Red, her crazy frickin' ass, she is super strong. She's all walking backwards and shit. Like, she was about to be like, Miss Vanjie. Did she not? Like, I was like, no, this is wigging me the hell out. I'm so glad I saw this movie sober. I would not be able to see this under the influence. I do not recommend watching this movie under the influence because it was really frickin' crazy. I'm not going to spoil the ending. You got to watch the ending to find out what happens. You know, I don't want to do all that. I really recommend watching it to see how this movie concludes. But at the end of the day, I had questions. I was like, America, explain. What do you mean at Arkansas? What do you mean at us? I don't know. It left me kind of like, there was a lot of fillers. I don't know if they're going to make a sequel. I really don't want them to make a sequel because I think it could have all been explained in one movie. Maybe I missed some things. I don't frickin' know. I do recommend it, though. The acting was phenomenal. Come on now. Lupita Nyong'o, she killed it. I read a list that Jordan Peele sent her like 10 movies to watch to get in character. It was like The Shining, Martyrs, what was it? A bunch of Alfred Hitchcock movies. So she got like inspired by all these like female leads and like horror and stuff, and you could tell like she was amazing. The fact that she had to play two different characters with two different personalities, amazing. The kids were amazing. Winston Duke's character was very likable. Elizabeth Moss, I love her in The Handmaid's Tale, so she was great for the few seconds that she was in it. The guy who plays Tim from Tim and Eric, I'm seeing him really step out and start to do some things that I never would have thought I would have seen him in, but he was pretty good as well. The lighting and Jordan Peele knows how to light a frickin' movie. I don't know what it is that he does. Like, you know, my lighting skills are not that advanced. I'm gonna get there eventually, but the lighting was beautiful. It was shot beautiful. It was just the plot. I don't know. I enjoyed the plot. I enjoyed the story. This is a movie that I definitely want to watch again. I want to see it again while it's in theaters. Maybe that'll explain some things that I might have missed. But I had some questions after the end. But what my friend, shout out Zeke, because what he pointed out to me is, remember, they said we're Americans. So don't think of it as us. Think of it as the U.S. Calvin Klein Red Boo. I ain't showing no labels. You ain't suing me for copywriting. But that was crazy! Like, I didn't even catch that. Jordan Peele. This is what I appreciate about Jordan Peele. You know, everyone's been hyping him up, and I'm not trying to keep sucking on his asshole even more to hype him up even more. But I just want to say, this man is smart. He thinks of things. He's got a lot going up there and a lot of creativity, and I appreciate that. I'm super excited to see what he does with the Twilight Zone series. I know he's not going to direct all the episodes. He's just going to be the host. He might direct one or two. I don't know. But this man who started off as comedy is now horror. And I love this. I've said this a million times. I love how we're seeing all these people who are, you know, focused on one genre come to the horror genre. You know, I love mixing comedy and horror. If you will go on my YouTube channel, watch all my little horror shorts, please. Like, I always try to mix comedy and horror. I love the two together. All right, so this review's been about 18 minutes and something. I can't really think of anything else to really talk about. I highly recommend watching it. When it comes, you know, so far it's definitely at the top of my list of the horror movies of the year. But this is my critique that I've given so many horror movies the past few years now, and I'm gonna give this one it as well. It wasn't scary. It wasn't scary. It had a lot of thrilling elements to it. You know, it needed that little. Do I think it was better than Get Out? I would say they're on the same playing field, but I definitely think it's not gonna. You know, like, they gave it 100% on Rotten Tomatoes at first. I would consider it maybe like 88 to 90%. Production value was off the chains, but I feel like Get Out was definitely the better of the two. That's all I can think about for right now, guys. If there's something I missed and there's something that you liked or didn't like about the movie, feel free to comment down below. We can talk about it. I can't really think of anything else off the top of my head right now, so I'm just going to leave it as, go see Us while it's in theaters. It's definitely worth the watch. Even if it's not the scariest movie you'll ever watch in your life, it's just a good movie. It's a good freaking movie. And that's about it. Thank you for watching my review. And until next time, be careful.